Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, Mike? How you doing today?
What's up, man?
Kind of a weird show today because it's the only two people that matter that actually come on. Everyone else is too scared to face the music. You think Jerry jump on here, with his team actually winning a game? I don't even understand it, but
You think I hurt his feelings because of that? Right there.
Yeah. That game was a lot closer than I thought it would be early, but unfortunately, Brian, Jerry, and Andy aren't here with us today, but it's good to have friends that, will jump on in a split second. So let me bring these gentlemen. I got Med Madlock. He's a degenerate gambler. Med, thanks for joining us today. How you doing?
Very good, folks.
Good. And with me as well, we have Ray Kennedy, Best of Bay Ray Kennedy from just about everywhere on Facebook.
Everywhere. Morning, brothers. Morning. Yes.
Couple Rays most notable. How you doing today, Ray?
I'm great. You guys told me you had an opportunity I could pop in here, and I just, the Bucks game, of course, tomorrow night, Monday Night Football, but so much good football already this weekend, coming out of a pretty good, well, not so much a good championship game last weekend for the college football playoffs, but a lot of football. So, yeah, I'd love to talk. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I appreciate it because I was going to just be me, staring at Mike lovingly for a couple hours today, and then we were going to end the show. So this ends the awkwardness, but what do you guys think of that Niners game last night? That was a lot closer than I thought it would be early on. Seattle played perfect football for what, two quarters, almost 2.5 quarters, and then the wheels kind of just fell off. What do you guys think about that game? Not all at once. Let's go, Ray.
Well, the thing is, Purdy's the guy, right? I mean, you're thinking, even though Seattle lost to him twice this year, you're thinking, well, put some pressure on this Mr. Irrelevant. And I think that term's been used enough this year, and we're not talking about Ryan Suckup. And you're just put some pressure on this guy. And there was a couple of times where the Seattle defense had him on the run there, but somehow he found the open guys. And turns out when you throw the ball 10,000 times in college, even if you're not running so much a pro set offense, you get to the NFL and go be under Robert or Kyle Shanahan there in the 49ers. Turns out he can make it happen. So really the takeaway for me so far is that Purdy, he hasn't choked like I thought he would.
You know what's great about Purdy is he's a scheme quarterback in a scheme that works for him. They're asking him to just do enough to win the game. They're not putting much pressure on him. When you got a running back like Metcalf pulling most of the freight, it really makes it a lot easier on your offense. So Jerry actually chimes in with, how about them Niners? That's all he's going to get for the show today. We're not going to let him say anything else. So any comment will be ignored. Med, do you have any thoughts on the game before we go to the highlights?
The only player to show up in the second half was DK Metcalf for Seattle, I think. I mean, he had a phenomenal game. Niners.
Yeah, go ahead, Niners.
Niners did what I expected. I expected that game really not to be that close, and it turned out to be not that close. So,
yeah, DK went off 10 catches, 136 yards, 2 TDs. You can't ask more of a wide receiver. I would gladly take that production in Tampa. I know Stout would love to have that up in down in Dallas, if you will. But let's go to the highlights real quick, unless, Mike, you have something to add on the whole Brock Purdy's of all time and make your buddy Jerry, elated.
Yeah, he sucks.
All right, let's go to the highlights. Why did anybody else fall asleep during that highlight reel? Good Lord. That was all Niners. I mean, Brock Purdy just
No.
he's going to be their quarterback next year, so the Niners have a big decision to make going forward. Who do you get more options from? Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo? Does Jimmy want to stay on as a backup? That's going to be big discussion going into the offseason, no?
It should be.
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to keep two young quarterbacks, or are they going to try to keep Jimmy as a backup as a veteran, or what? So
yeah, that's Jimmy G's got the experience in the locker room. He's a good team player, but I just don't know if they keep him and Trey Lance. I don't know if they keep Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. I don't know which decision makes more sense. I don't know which is going to be most cost effective. I don't even know where to go with that. I mean,
what's crazy is you go back to Washington, of course, when Shanahan was coaching there, and Mike Shanahan, his father, was the coach. They draft RG3 in the first round. Then 3 or 4 rounds later, they pick up Kirk Cousins, and now you got Trey Lance in Frisco. They got him under his first contract, and then you go and you find this guy, Mr. Irrelevant. So talk about being in a catbird seat. The Niners, we talked about the Ravens a couple of years back when they find Jackson there at the very 32nd pick of the first round. And, teams like that, and you give Kyle Shanahan a chance to work with these young guys, it's going to be a long and brutal division to play in the NFC West.
Oh, yeah, for a while. It's not going to be a cakewalk at any time soon. Speaking of Kirk Cousins, he's got a pretty big game today. Is he playoff material? Is Kirk Cousins finally going to break that mold and become the quarterback that he should be, or is he still going to be Kirk Cousins, can't win in the playoffs?
Wow, that's a tough game. That's a tough game. That might be the best game of the weekend.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, yeah, because Monday's not the weekend, so we'll let you slide there.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so Vikings, Giants. Let's give a little who gets the nod. So in this game, we're going to go position by position. You guys tell me who you think is the better position. For example, we'll just throw it out there. Running back, you got Dalvin Cook. You got Saquon Barkley coming off an injury, giving his best performance of his career. Who gets the nod there for you? Who's the better position in that circumstance? I mean, Dalvin
Barkley
Cook is. Why? Why do you think Barkley gets the nod there?
I just think, just overall, if you look at everything, those two are kind of comparable with things. But the one thing that Barkley has that I don't think Cook really shows too much is the power with running as hard as Barkley does, and that's why I give him the edge on it. So,
all right.
Cook's more of get him outside and watch him speed takes over. So
Yeah, but once he gets cooking, it's not like Russ cooking. I mean, he moves that ball. But Ahmed, who gets the nod for you?
I would go Barkley also. I think he's to me, he's more of a power back. And then, like Mike said, once he gets in the open field, toast. So I don't think Cook has getaway speed as well as Barkley does.
Okay. Ray, who gets the nod?
I think, and I'll tell you guys what, tell me if you agree with me. I think the reason why Saquon gets the nod for us is because we realize the Minnesota side, they've got all kinds of weapons on that offense. They just can't play defense. But when it comes to these Giants, and Brian Daboll in his first year as coach of these Giants, I think we realize that if the Giants are going to go by way that Saquon Barkley goes today, right? If Dalvin Cook gets off and Saquon doesn't, it's going to be early exit for the Giants. If Saquon gets on, but they can keep Dalvin and Cook, Vikings have trouble playing defense. So I give the nod to Saquon also, but I think it's mainly because we realize for the Giants to have success, it's got to go through him. The Vikings, Dalvin Cook could not have his best day, and the Vikings could still put up 40 points.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm going to go Barkley, but it's not for any of the reasons you guys have suggested. I'm going to go Barkley because they rested him.
Oh.
So you got Barkley, who had an extra bye week this year. He's already coming off his best statistical year of all time. and he's thrown into the playoffs. And he's chomping at the bit to play because he didn't get to play last week. And I think that was a great decision by Coach of the Year, in my opinion, to rest both Jones and Barkley. Barkley gets the nod for me, and I'm a huge Dalvin Cook fan, but I've got to give the nod to Saquon Barkley. I think he leads this offense, he leads this team. If Saquon goes, so do the Giants. So I give the nod to Barkley. All right, let's go. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you guys a question, if I might. We saw that what happened with the Chargers last night and Staley, and we talked about the not getting Herbert off, and a lot of people are posing that maybe that's the team that Sean Payton would like to play for, stay right there in Los Angeles. Do you guys also agree that Staley's not done enough or had enough success that he should automatically be out the door, or do you think that you should, for continuity with the team, you should give this cat another chance?
I'm going to look at the Pittsburgh Steelers for my guiding light here, right? Let's look at how many coaches they've had since Chuck Noll.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You get rewarded for loyalty. You get rewarded for perseverance. You've gotta stay put. You gotta let him coach. I mean, you don't. Who are you going to move to? And you go to Sean Payton, you implement a whole new offense. You're only doing it to bring in more Dallas Cowboys or New Orleans Saint fans over to your side, both, by the which are the same thing. New Orleans Saint fans are former Dallas Cowboy fans that still cheer for the Cowboys, especially tonight or Monday night. But anyway, so yeah, I think you stay the course, and you're rewarded for your longevity and your loyalty to a coach. Stout, what say you?
I think he stays. There's no point in taking him out or getting a new coach. I mean, to your point of it, the Chargers are known for just coaching carousel. Every couple of years, getting a new coach. I mean, at some point, he took you to the playoff. Took the team to the playoff. It's been a while since Rivers left. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since Rivers has been there. So, dude turned the team around. I mean, they sucked. That was bad at one point, like real bad. And he's got them turned around in the right direction. It's just things didn't go their way last night. So
right on. Med, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree totally with what you both said. At the end of the day, they made the playoffs, had a winning record. You can't go by last night's. We're in a now society where we want to react what we see in the yesterday. And the day
absolutely
winning season, he stays.
Right on. Ray, you didn't give us your thoughts on it.
Well, I'll work it back. If you don't mind, I'll work it. Well, I didn't give you my thoughts because I think that the guy's, he's an analytics guy. He's taken some gambles, loves to, last couple of years has shown he loves to go for it on fourth down. Players like that kind of a coach. But I mean, I think Justin Herbert, there's people out there like, he's the guy, but he's not the guy. He's a guy, and he can be the guy. And I think that sometimes in this day and age, especially, we see these coaches getting fired after 1 or 2 years of Cliff Kingsbury and these guys because they've got a quarterback that's under a huge contract and your team feels like the window's this big. But I like what you said, for continuity purposes, I'll play the long game because, I've seen with the Buccaneers when they chased their tail for almost 2 decades trying to find the next guy, and they didn't. Turns out he was behind door number 2.
Right. So, right on. All right, well, let's go back to the Vikings-Giants. I give you Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones. Who gets the nod?
Kirk Cousins.
Why?
Kirk Cousins.
That's it?
It's Daniel Jones, dude. Look.
So it's not really a nod for Kirk Cousins. It's a hell no for Daniel Jones?
Look, I'm going to – Look, Daniel Jones he's an NFL quarterback. We got to give him that. That's what I'll give him. But he is like a system quarterback that's not very good at it. That's what basically what it is. I mean, I think he has the talent to do it, but it just, when I watch him play, I look at him and I'm just like, nah, I'm good. So, I thought you weren't going to show it. You weren't going to show anymore.
I had to distract you.
So
Yeah, I get you.
but I'm taking Kirk Cousins. Like I just am. He's getting over the hump. I think they win their first playoff game tonight.
Right on.
So I can't go against Daniel Jones. I can't bet against Daniel Jones.
Go with them.
I can't. Nope.
Ned?
Cousins also. Experience-wise for me, more experience than Daniel Jones in this type of situation. Cousins has been in the playoffs before, so I think that plays a factor this afternoon.
Right on. And Ray.
I'm going to give it to Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, and I'm just going to do that because from the moment the Giants hired Brian Daboll, we saw what he did with Josh Allen there in Buffalo, and Daniel Jones is not Josh Allen, but I really think that he does have the capacity. He's a good running quarterback. He really is a big, solid kid, too, like 6'5", about 230, 435. I give it to him just because of the fact that I think he can pull it down, and that can be a part of the game today. I'm not sure how much they need to do against that Minnesota defense. Saquon might be enough, but either way, it's a pretty good matchup. I think Kirk Cousins, being a veteran that he's been around the league long enough. He could have a good day today, but I'll stick with Daniel Jones.
Right on. Does it matter to you guys that the Giants secondary is so poor? I mean, does that play into the factor at all?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going Kirk Cousins. And the reason isn't because Kirk Cousins is so much better than Daniel Jones. I think Kirk Cousins has less to worry about than Daniel Jones. If the game's in his hands, he's got a lot more weapons to use. So it kind of gives him the nod. You got Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, T.J. Hawkinson, all 8 you're able to work the ball to. If you're Daniel Jones, you got Hodgins, Galladay, and Bellinger. I mean,
and Barkley, but yeah.
Yeah, Barkley. I forgot Barkley.
Oh,
so yeah, that's where you're at.
I mean, you got to look at it too. Galladay missed his bonus by I think just a short margin of like 72 catches or something like that. So I mean,
75 catches for $750,000. So I think Met had some internet issues, so he popped out. Hopefully he comes back on. Wide receiving core, I think everyone's going to the same place here. Jefferson, Thielen, Hodgins, Galladay. I mean, it's gotta be the Giants. The Vikings get the call.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
That's who you get the nod to. Anyone have a disagreeing thought on that? I mean, you can't go the other side.
No.
And then Bellinger at tight end isn't as bad as everyone is making him out to be. He's just not as good as T. Hawkinson is. Hawkinson is a huge red zone threat for this offense. Having a running back like Dalvin Cook allows you to do the play action pass within the 10-yard line. So I think Hawkinson gets the nod there. Any disagreeing on that?
No,
not here.
No, nope, not gonna happen, dude.
Right on. And then, last but not least, Giants defense versus the Vikings defense. Neither of which are really stout, no pun intended, at stopping the run, stopping the pass. They're both just ho-hum. I mean, their offense have got them to this point. I don't think the defense really matters in this game, unfortunately, even though I do believe defense wins championship games. So who gets the nod for you guys?
I'm going to take the Vikings, man. And just because you could, every once in a while, I mean, it's so close with their defenses, like you're kind of saying, like they're there and then they're not. But the Vikings show more of to me, that they could stop something when it needs to be stopped. Like the Giants, like when it comes down to that, they need to stop. It looks like they rarely get it. But the Vikings showed this year that if they need it, it would show up and they would get that stop that they needed. That's the only reason I'm going with the Vikings with that. Just watching the other games this year, that's why the Giants will stop it, or the Vikings will stop if they need a stop, and that's a close margin of only reason I'm choosing them. So,
well, their margins of victory reflect that. I mean, they're not a blow them out team. They're not,
I mean, at one point they were like -3 or something like that. Nobody knew how they were winning games. Like, it was that to that point of like, how are they even winning? Like, this is impossible. So, I mean, but yeah, I'm taking the Vikings. So,
All right, Ray.
I'm going. I got to go Giants, and I'll tell you guys the only reason why. It's such a cheap way to do this. Number one, family going back to New York, originally from Staten Island. We were always Giants and Mets and Jets, but Giants also. We hate the Yankees, but I still like the fact I still have these. I put my head upon my pillow at night. I still have this dream that somehow the entire NFC shakes out and the Giants, who are the only team that'll could possibly be seated lower than the Buccaneers, would give the chance for the Buccaneers to host an NFC Championship game. But that's a very, very long shot. So I just like the Giants. I just go with the Giants just to be different here.
All right. Did you hear the comment or the question we're at right now? It's Vikings defense or Giants defense. Who do you think gets the nod there?
Well, I really haven't followed that much closely to the teams. Based off what I've seen, what little I've seen, I would go with the Vikings defense. And,
Okay.
Yeah. And me being a bettor, I'd look at the numbers too, and the numbers leading right there right now at -3 for the Vikings. So
That's a
that
pickle.
tells me it's going to be a no. Actually, I go by Caesars, not to plug Caesars. I'm not sponsor. I don't have any affiliation with Caesars. And that, but
Give them a call. We need a sponsorship anyway.
Next time I'm in, I'll talk to my guy.
But
Yeah, that just
Right on.
tells me, the number tells me it's Vegas expects it to be a defensive game, and so, but I think I give the edge to the Vikings defense on this one.
right on. I am actually leaning to the Giants defense, and the only reason I'm leaning that way is Kayvon Thibodeau.
Man,
He's a difference maker. In the last 6 weeks, he's got 21 QB pressures, and if you can get that pressure on Kirk Cousins, he's prone to throw the ball to the opposing team. And that's the only reason. Honest to God, I have no other reason for my pick. I just have a feeling that the Giants defense could be the difference in this game. So now we're down to the overall. So who you got? Vikings, Giants.
well, you know who I'm going to pick.
Giants?
I've done it all year long. I think he my buddy's up there pulling some strings and the way the Vikings are looking, so I'm gonna take the Vikings, man. Win or lose, I'm taking the Vikings for them. So
ride or die, baby. Ride or die.
Right on.
So
Ray, who you got?
I got Giants, man, because Thibodeau, I laughed a couple of weeks back. I was doing a post-game show, post-game cup of Ray, and somebody called in and they said, the problem with Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, of course, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, the outside linebacker, the Bucs drafted out of Washington, is that he's not Thibodeau. And I'm like, whoa, time out, slow your roll here. Thibodeau's top 10 at one time was predicted to possibly be the top player off the board defensively, although Aiden Hutchinson this year is showing that he deserved to be as high as he did. But the Giants defense, the grittiness, the fact that, like you said, the Vikings, they've been pretty much losing that points differential battle all year. The Vikings are going to be under some pressure today. They're showing up at home. They've showed a couple of weeks ago that they don't necessarily automatically win at home. And so it's going to be a gritty defensive type of a game, type of a game, but I'll go with the Giants.
Got you. Ned, I'm assuming you're leaning Vikings, being a gambler.
I am leaning the Vikings. I do not have a play, but that is my lean. I saw the other day, what is it? The 5th anniversary of the Miracle catch? Maybe not that long, but I want to say it's been like 5 years, and I believe in that stuff. So Vikings at home. Vikings at home.
Right on. I'm going Giants. I think the Giants pull the upset here, and it has nothing to do with being a Bucs fan. I just think the cards are in the Giants' favor. They've got a better coach, in my opinion. And I really think that Kirk Cousins is going to turn the ball over 2-3 times. So
And
That's
nobody
where
circles the wagons like the New York Football Giants. I'm kidding. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever. My bad.
Right. But before we get into Med's picks for the week, we're going to give our plug to Let's Talk Sports. You can find us on Let's Talk Sports on Amazon and Roku. So if you're ever bored, look us up. We're there.
The Crüe NFC Roundtable is proud to partner with the Let's Talk Sports Network, available on YouTube, Roku, and Amazon.
Everybody's got a price. Everybody's gonna pay.
Sorry, I got to give the Ted DiBiase his 4 seconds there. so Matt, give us your picks. Try to kind of explain them to the viewers that might want to run the same play you got going.
Sure. And again, bet harder, not smarter, for entertainment purposes only. Okay. To me, in all the years I've been betting on sports, this has been the week to pay attention to the outlets with all the injuries to Tua, for example, Lamar, here in Baltimore. It was important to get ahead of the number, which I did proudly. So this week, just to give a rundown, that I'll tell you why I went down. I got the Bills at -10.5. I placed a bet on Tuesday before the Tua announcement came out the next day. It has just gone up at Caesars again to -14 even. It's gone up within the past 15 minutes. It changed. So, so I think it's too late to hop on that number right now. I would not take it at 14 now. I would place that as a no bet right now. So with that being said, like I mentioned, again, to recap, I took the Bills at -10.5. I took the Bengals on Wednesday before it was announced Lamar would be out. There was tweets. And with Huntley having a shoulder and elbow questions, I took the Bengals at -7. I got a good number on that. Briefly touched 7 on Wednesday. So I took that. Right now, it's at -8 in the hook. And I also placed a 2-team teaser today with the Bengals. I teased that down to 2.5. I paired it with the Bills at -2.5. And depending on how the Bills game go, as you might have guessed, I'm leaning the Vikings at -3.5. It's plus 100 right now, so you're basically getting your money back on that bet. So those are my plays, and hopefully everything cashes.
So when you say you played a teaser, are you buying points there?
Yeah, you're buying points down. Let's say most books have where you can go 6, 6.5, or 7. The key numbers to get off of when you tease are 7 and 3. That way, if you tease it down, you're getting the best number. Say like the spread's at a 7, okay, and you tease it down to 6, you're getting that team at -1.
Got you. Don, well, we appreciate it. Are you willing to stay on, or you got to jump off?
I got to jump off here. I'm going
out
to lunch with a bunch of friends, so make some money. Hopefully it pays off, and hopefully, I'll see you next week.
All right, Matt. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Brother.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable when it comes to pinching points and stuff like that. I don't gamble well enough. or enough period to do anything like that. Harry's really good as well. I don't know. I don't understand it well
the
enough.
thing I don't get though, excuse me, sorry guys, is they obviously knowledgeable, tickle the point, tease the point, get the vig, I don't know, whatever. But I always hear these the people who are in the know, they go, well, basically you lay the points, this and that, and you're going to get your money back. And my thought there is, and I'm asking, maybe you guys know, I don't. So that means you tease it down and you take the team that's favored, and you're basically going to get your money back if that team does win because they're so favored. But if you don't get it, you lose your money. So is that just because of the thrill of the bet? So you can say I've got some skin in that game. Because if you're not making a profit, turning profit on that, then get your money back. I'm like, I'm a terrible gambler, so I can't do it at all. I just don't get it.
Yeah. No, I don't understand it. I don't make enough money to gamble. Let's just say that.
That's so sad.
I work too hard for every penny I got, so I'm not going to give it to nobody. I don't even play the lotto. The wife hates it, but I don't even play the lotto. So,
penny slots in Vegas, baby. That's about it.
There you go.
So
that's my speed.
We're at the most important part of the show. So before we get into it, Cowboys.
They suck.
Wait, Cowboys?
Yes, they suck.
That's what he's talking about.
Yes, they suck.
Oh God,
man!
Did you guys see No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, did you guys see all week the media? It's Dallas's game to lose. McCarthy's fighting for a shot. Dak's not the guy. What else can go wrong with this? Quinn's got and it's like. And I get it, hey, the less light on the Bucs, the better for this matchup. But I mean, is everybody just revolting against the whole America's team now? So we're all just hating on them and hoping for this thing to blow up, or what?
Stout's just hating on them so they keep winning. If we're being honest, it really is Dallas's time, right? I mean,
it's their game to lose, man. And to be honest with you, it is. I mean, you think about it. I mean, they played in week 1. We're going to go back to week 1. Week 1, all I kept on hearing was, well, Dak didn't play the whole game. Dak didn't play the whole game. You looked at Tampa and you're like, oh, crap. They still got it. And then the season goes on and you're like, what's going on? What's going? I mean, they still have it, but then it's like, it went away like really bad.
Where'd it go?
And then every time, Then it turned into every time that I started getting on, Dallas is doing this, and started, get my hopes up. They do what they always do and dash it. So that's why I just say they suck, because every time I said they suck, they end up starting winning. And then
you say dash it or dash it?
That dash it, right?
Dash it. So I mean
Prescott's looking terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And if you look, I know, and if you look at, like, there was some stat that was brought up after, like, during the season, if they lost the game, it was like they won 4 games, they lost 2 games, and then they won 4 games again. And they're like trying to make, like, oh, Dallas is going to go to the Super Bowl because this is the pattern. Dallas ain't going to go to the Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. Mike McCarthy's not it. He hasn't changed. They just decided to get Barry Switzer 2.0 in there, and that's what it comes down to.
Come on, man.
And I'm not joking. I'm being serious. I was excited for McCarthy. I'm not going to lie. I was super excited. And I'm like, I was watching all the stuff on him about how he's changed, and he realized with him being gone what he has to do. And we're right back to the same old Mike McCarthy.
And we saw we saw it, him and his crew, where they were in a barn somewhere the entire last 2 seasons before he's hired on, and they're breaking down every game. They're learning all these new offensive strategies, and basically he just shows up and he sits on the sideline like this, and you're trying to figure out, what's this guy trying to figure out? Turns out it was Aaron Rodgers who was rocking in Green Bay, not so much Mike McCarthy. But, you know, I know you guys, Dallas Cowboy fans, you got to somewhere. I asked this 8 weeks ago. Somewhere in the back of your mind, you're like going, yeah, you know, Sean Payton would be pretty nice in Dallas, wouldn't he? Having the history there in Dallas if he wanted to come back. You think there's actually some, you know, bandwagon or Dallas fans at this point that are like, oh, let the Cowboys lose tomorrow night because then maybe we'll get Sean Payton in here.
They're Saints fans.
Saints fans, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Morning.
I mean that's where Sean Payton kind of got his start was in Dallas, and
Yeah.
I always wanted him to be the coach there, and I don't know why Jerry didn't. But I've also said this for the past, I don't know, about 10 years, that Dallas will not win a Super Bowl with him at the helm. With Monty Burns running the team, we will not go to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just plain and simple. He's too involved still, I don't, at this point, it doesn't matter who the coach is. If somebody can't come in and stick a foot in these guys' butts like it needs to be, it's not going to happen. I mean, you got Kellen Moore, and that's why I think the defense has done so well this year with Dan Quinn as a defensive coordinator, because he doesn't get enough credit as a defensive coordinator, I don't think. As a head coach, he was mediocre at best, but as a defensive coordinator, he's one of the best in the league, and he don't play that game, and that's why the defense is playing the way they are. You know, he don't play around with all the mistakes. And I know he's got a lot of good players on the team, but he makes these guys work for what they need. And we don't get that with Kellen Moore or Mike McCarthy on the offensive side. We just don't. We get these flashy plays that work every once in a while, and they're like, oh, look at this highlight. Okay, what happened to this 8 other plays before it?
Yeah, I don't get the whole thing. Jerry Jones, Jason Garrett, former backup quarterback, make him a coach. Kellen Moore, former Dallas backup quarterback, make him a coach. I don't know what the fancy there is. It's just Jerry Jones is a guy who sticks by his guys, so I give him that. But I've not seen anything from Kellen Moore. This offense they talked about, they've had some success, but with the weapons they have and an offensive line they had for most of the last 2 years, they should be having that success, even if you had Richard Williamson running that offense. Of course, Richard Williamson, former Buccaneer coach way back in the 80s. But anyway, sorry, I digress.
So the difference, I think, between your offense and your defense is your playmaker on defense is Lawrence Taylor-esque. He's going to change that position.
Well,
Micah Parsons you've got Micah Parsons.
I know.
I mean, that's it. Your other defensive stalwart hasn't done anything in 4 weeks?
Diggs?
I mean, he's playing good. I mean, but he's not playing. I mean, and Micah was the same thing. He's just playing above average right now. I mean, but the other thing is you got Micah, you got Diggs, and then you got everybody keeps on forgetting about this is DeMarcus Lawrence. And when they're
forgot about Lawrence. Lawrence forgot how to play.
I think when they forgot when all that pressure went to Micah, with everybody talking about Micah, he stood out the best. Is when all that pressure went away. But they're all playing. The defense is getting worn out again, dude. That's what it comes down to.
Look at the numbers. Lawrence has fallen off. You would figure with Parsons getting more attention now, drawing the double teams, Lawrence would get more free roaming space. He'd be more apparent on the stat sheets, and he's just not. Now, if Lawrence was still heavy and Parsons was still heavy, you'd have a much more dominant defensive front. Now, I'm not saying the Cowboys don't have a dominant front, but they're falling well short of expectations having 2 caliber athletes like that. Now you got Parsons, who's got the banged up thumb, and I believe he's got a contusion on the forearm. Everyone's got a contusion on the forearm, but his is actually an issue where they're not switching him side to side. They're not putting him in the middle. They're not putting him on the left edge. They're not putting him on the right edge. He's staying stationary. So then you don't have to worry about game planning for him. You just got to put your left tackle over there, and you got to put a tight end there to chip him and keep him out of the backfield. Granted, he's going to get his plays, but it limits his capability there.
Well, and that's what is happening once Micah went down. The D-Law stuff went down because they're keeping him in the same spot. I mean, that was the point of they had that roaming around in different spots. But I just the defense is again what it has been for a while is they keep holding this team up and the offense lets them down. And by the time that the defense is on the field for over half the game, you're wore out. And that's
Yeah,
how
we know the feeling.
I know.
Yeah, we do.
I know. No, I know. I understand that. But that's what I'm saying. Like but this has been going on since 2010. I mean, when we had Romo, when we started with the Romo stuff, when Parcells was there, the defense was really good, but the offense was not. And you're spending. Well, I don't understand how you can't win games. We can't win games because our defense is on the field all the damn time, and that's what this has been like the past 5 weeks. Is the defense is out there. That's why it's so close in the first half, and the second quarter. It's just like what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, the offense has got to keep the drives going, and they're not. So,
yeah, we know that pain all too well in Tampa.
Yeah,
I know. I think that's the blueprint for Dallas and Tampa for the longest time was the offense sucked, the defense was good, and they're about the same with that. So, I don't know.
We can play who gets the nod, but on paper, it's going to go mostly to the Bucs until you get to the defensive side, and I think you might give the nod to Dallas. But I really don't think these teams are on paper as good as they should be. Either side of the ball, either way. But let's get into this Buccaneer secondary that's finally healthy. They've got to worry about who offensively for the Cowboys. Who's the offensive threat? CeeDee Lamb and
I'm worried about Schultz. I want to make sure, and I say that because, just on the Buccaneers will try to geared up to stop that run, and they're going to watch CeeDee Lamb, but Dak's going to look to lean on that tight end Schultz. I think that if they start finding Schultz, that's when it starts softening that Buccaneer defense up. So I put Schultz right up there right behind Pollard and Zeke. But yeah, obviously CeeDee Lamb is where your bread is buttered first and foremost.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Schultz because the Bucs defense is terrible against the tight end.
Yeah, I know.
You got Devin White, Levante David, Antoine Winfield Jr. They're all giving up the big play to the tight end. It's not a secret. It's not like every team doesn't know it. The play's there over the middle of the tight end because either Levante's too deep, Devin's too busy in the backfield, or Winfield's in between. They're always beat at the tight end spot. I think they're the only team that's averaging over 100.3 for
tight end.
Passer ratio to the tight end.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
And that's what I worry about with this, just the same way the Buccaneers offense versus this Dallas defense. Tom's going to get rid of that ball quick. They're going to establish that run with Rashad White and Lenny Fournette, maybe even a little Keyshawn Vaughn, and maybe a splash of Giovanni Bernard. But as far as the Dallas sideline goes, they got Pollard and Zeke, and you got CeeDee Lamb's peeling the top off on every play. So the Buccaneers are going to have to put pressure on Dak, like they did somewhat in that first game there in Dallas. And when the Bucs won 19-3, is you got to make them uncomfortable in the pocket. So both of these teams' defense are looking to make the opposing team's quarterbacks as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah,
the Bucs. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, I think the key to this, and I agree with the Dalton Schultz being one of the key weapons in this. I mean, I'll wait on the overall, but I think if the Cowboys decide if they want to win this game, Dak's going to have to start running again.
Ooh.
I've watched the games. I've watched all the games all year. And a lot of the times he's throwing passes when there's nobody around for him to go get the first down. Nobody around. Like, they all know he's going to stay in and throw the ball, so they don't even worry about his running anymore. And that's my thing. The key to this game is Dak starts running like he did before. Then they'll have a shot at winning.
Let me counter that real quick. You've got two of the fastest linebackers in the league sideline to sideline. You've got one of the fastest players in the NFL off the edge and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. And you're going to try to get Dak mobile. I don't know if that's a good option this week. I mean, JTS is going to over-pursue the play. It's going to force Dak out of the pocket. And then he's out in open space, and then it's a free-for-all. Well, and the Bucs defense one of the highest rated defenses against the quarterback run and with the quarterback sacks this year. I think they have 45 quarterback sacks.
I understand that, dude, but I'm looking at it this way. You're playing against the Dallas Cowboys. They're not looking at Dak as a runner. Nobody is looking at him as a runner anymore. Nobody looks at him as to be a mobile quarterback like, he has shown in the past. They can make him a pocket passer. That's what everybody uses him as, is a pocket passer. So they're not going to plan on him running. That's the point of why he should run. You know what I'm saying? I understand what you guys have. I do. And it's not a good idea, when you have mobile quarterbacks to go up against the Bucs. It's just not. But they don't use Dak as a mobile quarterback. And that's going to be one of the key factors is him running for those first downs when, they're going to get pressure up front. It's just that's what's going to happen. But that's
definitely
just
could be a new wrinkle.
That's my key to them winning is that, because nobody's planning on him being a mobile quarterback anymore. They have.
Well, I'll agree with you, Mike, that would be a wrinkle or and to plan for it, right? If you're running RPOs or whatever, just to do what it's got to get done, do what it takes to get done, and that would be something that. But fortunately, from where I'm looking at it as of covering the Bucs, is that admitting it straight out, not you, but the team, that Dak has to pull it out and has to run that ball, has to provide that extra element, is basically because the rest of this Buccaneers defense is going to lock it down in other areas. And I'll take some Dak rushing because, this Buccaneers defense this year, especially with the offensive struggles we had, they've reminded me more this year of Monty Kiffin's defenses from back at the turn of the century than even the one that won 55 2 years ago. And that's that bend but don't break mentality, right? So we'll keep a lot of stuff in front of us. We'll let that, between the 20s, there can be some success, but this team had the ability to lock it down inside the red zone. And so I'll take Dak on a few scrambles as long as when we get down inside that red zone, our defense bows up and stops everything from there on out.
No. So,
no?
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
I guess, brother.
Both teams coming in fairly healthy. Bucs have a few players that are questionable. Kyle Rudolph is doubtful, but I honestly forgot Rudolph was on the team until last week. I mean, what does he matter? Why do they even put him on the injury report? But you got Carlton Davis, who's questionable but is expected to play. Edwards is questionable but is expected to play. McCollum, or I can't say his name, Molchan, the backup offensive lineman is questionable.
Yeah. Right.
Molchan, that's it. Thank you. And then you got Carl Nassib, who's questionable. And Keanu O'Neal, questionable. Logan Ryan, questionable. Donovan Smith, questionable. Vita Vea, questionable. All are expected to play except for Rudolph. But on the other side of the ball, with Dallas, all you have out is Mullen. And he's your second corner backup, if that makes any sense. He's not your strong side corner. He's your weak side corner, or is your non-threat corner, if you will.
He's a starter on special team.
Right. Okay. That's a nice way to say it.
Yeah. His mom's watching. Be nice.
But he was replacing someone on injured reserve. Brown's out. I mean, as much as you hate him, Mike, I know you don't like him as a corner. He's your starting corner. He's gone. Your second string corner is gone. Now you're on your special teams corner, who's gone. I mean, who's at corner now for the Dallas Cowboys? Who do they feel comfortable with?
I don't know.
That's a scary position to be in when you're coming against a team with the likes of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Julio Jones, Russell Gage.
Russ Gage. It gets lower and lower.
Right.
Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller.
But I mean, seriously, you got 2,000-yard receivers on this team.
I know.
Diggs has got to go to Evans, right?
Dude, it's gonna be what it has been for a while, and they're playing these no name guys, and they're stepping up. I mean, it's just I think he has a lot of credit to go with Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn, yeah, Dan Quinn,
and how he coaches again. It's gonna be rough to watch it if they don't rotate Curse over to give that backup. I mean, basically, I think Trayvon Diggs is going to stay on Evans. I mean, I don't know if they're going to.
So.
I mean, they're going to stay. They're going to have to keep him on Evans and then pray that nothing else happens with Tom Brady at quarterback. But I'm you know how I am with this game because it's Tom Brady. He's from Michigan. I have a hard time when when Dallas.
You love him.
Yeah.
Aww.
Not this week. I hope his leg breaks.
wait, whose leg breaks?
Tom Brady.
Oh, come on.
You got Kyle Trask, bro.
That's what I'm talking about. Get it, me?
Yeah.
But seriously.
We got the new version of the Red Rocket in our backup.
The way to beat Mike Evans is to play a cover 2 zone on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way to get torched by Tom Brady is to play a cover 2 zone on him.
Yeah.
So I really think you're going to see a hybrid defense coming from the Dallas Cowboys where you're going to play 2-man on one side and you're going to robber the opposite side or just go straight man the opposite side and make Tom Brady beat you with K-Dot. And that's where this game is going to lie to me. It's where it's going to be played at is K-Dot's going to have 5 catches, close to 60, 70 yards, maybe a touchdown. I never say the Bucs are going to win. Never say it.
Don't forget that first game of the year, Tom Brady had 27 total attempts in that first game. And it's going to be different. They're paid. These teams are paid professionals on both sides, but Lenny Fournette had over 130 yards rushing. 4 backs touched the ball. Even Tom had a rush for negative yard or 0 yardage. But I make no bones about it because you're talking about how you play that zone or you play to cover these wide receivers. But this game being at home in Tampa Stadium or Raymond James Stadium, Buccaneers want to ground and pound that ball as well because we don't want Dak to run those RPOs and get off. We don't want CeeDee Lamb to find his way through this defense. So they're going to try to limit the amount of times that this Dallas Cowboys offense can get on that field. And that's going to be because of the run. But at the same time, Pollard and Zeke, you got to imagine Dallas is trying to do the same exact thing, right?
Yeah,
that was going to be my overall view of this game. We're talking about the quarterback. We're talking about. It was that's why I kind of waited on it. It's basically we were talking about the quarterbacks, and both teams are going to run the ball. I honestly view it as it's going to be a run game situation until one of the teams stop the run. And I can tell you who's not going to stop the run, and that's Dallas. Because we're awful at stopping the run.
Come on, man.
I'm glad you said that. I'm kidding.
But that's my overview of, pretty much of this game is I think both teams run the ball. They're going to look back at week 1, see what worked, and they're going to go from there. And maybe we'll have Dak for the whole game. I don't know. Who knows what happens? But
I think that's better for the Bucs if you do.
It might be. So,
what?
I'm saying
we got 5 minutes left. So, Mike, you just gave us your breakdown of the game defensively. You got anything special working up in Dallas, or
you know who will have a big game today? I like to call him Thad. You ever watch Blue Mountain State? That older TV show.
I have.
Vander Esch, baby.
Esch.
Yeah, I think he'll have a good game.
I knew that was coming. He's back this week, so he very well may have a big game.
Yes, I'm hoping he does. So
right on. Ray, how you got this game going? I mean, what are your keys for victory for the Bucs? Obviously, so give us your thoughts.
The Buccaneers. The key to the Buccaneers' victory is Jake Camarda, the best punter in the National Football League. I'm kidding. Get us out of some trouble. But, he's been solid this year. But, the thing is that if you look back at that game this year, 19-3 seems like it was more lopsided. And Dak goes out with that hurt thumb. It didn't feel that way, because we knew, you and I spoke about this ad nauseum going into Dallas at week 1, just like last year when they came here and played us in week 1. Last thing you want to do is give that Dallas Cowboys team a chance to prepare. So I think if nothing else, I'm going to say both teams will bring their lunchbox. I think I'm hearing bells, but I'm going to mute myself. But I think the keys to the Buccaneer victory tomorrow is establish that run, because if you don't establish that run, Mika and the guys pin their ears back, and it's going to be a long night for Tom Brady. We don't want that.
Right on. Well, let me give you my take on this. Go ahead.
Hey, it sounded like one of the Bucs players getting arrested. All right, go ahead.
Oh, no. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute now.
So anyway.
I'm not going to say that.
Lost my train of thought. Okay.
I know, that's what I do good for you.
Here we go with my final thoughts on this game. With the week 1 game being a run fest for the Bucs, establishing their will on the Dallas Cowboys early, I don't think we're going that way anymore. I don't think they're going to try it as much. I don't think they have enough confidence in their running attack. I think you're going to see them open the game with a lot of play action passes to try to soften that run defense up of the Cowboys. I really think Kate Otten goes off today. I'm looking, like I said, 5 to 6 catches, maybe a touchdown or 2. My player to watch, though, really this week is going to be Russell Gage. I think he's your red zone threat for this Bucs offense right now. What has he got? 5 touchdowns in the last 4 games, the only 4 games he actually played in or anything, something like that. But yes. I think Russell Gage is going to have a big game. Defensively, I think you're going to see both teams run into issues running the ball early. The Cowboys will stay with it. Unfortunately, I think the Bucs abandon it. And I'm not going to give a score prediction, but I'd love to see the Bucs win.
I'll tell you what. Look at no further than 35-17. That's my score prediction. Dallas. I'm kidding. Buccaneers. I think Dallas can score a little more this time, but Anthony Nelson at defensive end, 4.5 sacks, second on the team in sacks this year, 2 strip sacks 2 weeks in a row. Dallas is going to be looking at double team that guy, believe it or not. You start looking back, and it's going to open it up a little bit more for this defensive line. I'd like to see the rookie. Getting a little Logan Hall getting a little busy inside there. But it's going to be a great game. That's the reason why I think you guys all agree. The NFL put this game on Monday night for this very reason. It's going to be a hell of a Monday night playoff game, isn't it? To end Super Wild Card Weekend or whatever they're calling it.
They add another name to that. They're going to keep adding syllables. We're going to be like 3 minutes talking up the weekend. But let me address this. Let me address this with Johnny. Johnny says you have to establish the run to make the play action viable, and that is a fallacy. The Bucs already had established the run in week 1. Right? Yep. So when they go against the Cowboys, they just got to show the threat to run early to get that defense to bite on the run early. You don't have to establish the run at the beginning of a game if you've already had it established in previous weeks. And that's why I think the play action pass is going to come into play early for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I tell you one thing this Buccaneers team has done over the last 3 seasons is just when we said they've got to run the ball, they just 100% showed up and no risk it, no biscuit. But if they don't use the run game tomorrow night versus Dallas, and they keep it in their holster and they advance to the next round, then that's another thing the next team will have to worry about. So I agree with you. If you get them to bite early on that play action, even if it's not fully established, but you call the plays in a good order, you can use that to your advantage. But, I'd still like to see this Buccaneers get a lead and start pounding that ball out. I don't want to get into a running game, though, because Zeke and Pollard, those cats can run also. That's going to be a big facet of this game tomorrow night.
Right on. Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't ever predict the Bucs to win or say it out loud or anything like that. So give me your score, Stout.
Cowboys suck, and I'm just saying this because I ain't giving the score either. I've watched 5 Cowboys games this year, and I'll let you know which 5 I watched. So guess what I'm not doing Monday night?
Ouch.
Yeah. Ray, give us a score.
I'm telling you, I've been using 35-17 all year. I've gotten close one time. Sometimes the script flipped. I'm going to go 35-17. I think that the one thing the Buccaneers are going to have tomorrow night that Dallas did not see, and you already alluded to it, we're going to have a 4-receiver set at some point that's going to go Evans, Godwin, Jones, and Gage. And when you put those 4 in the game, you can open it up across for the middle for Kate Otten. Maybe you run a play action or what have you. So I definitely think the Bucs are going to get some scoring tomorrow night. I would bet the over in this game. Let's put it that way. 35-17, but I would definitely bet the over in this game tomorrow night.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Ray. It was a
thank you.
Blessing to have you. You definitely are a lot more talkative than I am this morning, so I appreciate that because I was kind of lost in thought watching your background at points. So
right.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming. That trolley or whatever it is, that's
Jolly Trolley.
San Franciscan.
That's the Jolly Trolley. I think runs all the way down here. You can take it up Central Avenue all the way down to the Tropicana Field where the race played, down to the bay and back. And there's women running around down back of the CVS here, half naked. So it's going to be a nice day in Madeira Beach. So yeah, we'll see you guys later. Hey, thanks for having me. And let's go for a good game tomorrow night and good games today. Because man, playoff football in 2022, I'm digging it so far, or 2023.
Right, you want to tell us where we can find you, Ray?
Yeah, a cup of Ray. You find me over on Amped Up Sports in the Sports Web, Mr. Peter Blake. I sometimes show on there with 1252 Sports out of Chicago with Harry the Greek on the over-under. But just anywhere there's a good conversation going on about football, brother, you know me, I'll be there. And I want to thank the staff out here from the Brass Captain and, of course, the street, the Saltwater Hippie, two of the best places here on Madeira Beach Drive. You ever get down here, come out here, get a flavor of the beach, have a great time, and thank the staff for letting me do the show out here. You guys have a great Sunday, and I appreciate you.
All right, thank you. Have a blessed day.
Take care, brothers.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Well, it all comes down to this, Mike. Bucks boys, Monday Night Football. This is the best show we've ever had. We were able to talk about the two best teams for a good 20, 25 minutes, then have to hear Jerry or Andy crying, Brian up there in the corner picking his nose. We're good.
I mean,
Any closing?
next week it's going to be only two guys talking about playoff teams. So
yeah,
we'll
it's going to be me and Jerry. So I don't know. I mean, you can still come
probably.
on.
Cowboys suck. So.
All right, brother.
All
We'll
right.
see you next
I'll
week.
See you.